Hi everybody, this is Kathy from More Fun with Felt. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be showing you how to make this adorable little cat out of a dryer ball. Believe it or not. It's hard to believe actually. I've already made an owl for you guys, and I have also done a chicken, and they turned out super cute. I have this cat that I'm making today that I'll show you, and then next is going to be a caterpillar, and he's going to have about maybe 4 dryer balls with some fuzzy fur. He's going to be super fun, so make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when that is released as well. And let's go ahead and talk about what we are actually going to need for this project. So first and foremost, you do need a dryer ball. This is something you can purchase on Amazon. It's 3 inches wide, in diameter. And you can either make one of these out of core wool, or you can just purchase them. I have the link for these in the description of the video, so feel free to follow that link and get you a pack of 24 of these, because you'll definitely be wanting to make several of these projects. I promise you. They're so fun and easy. The next thing that you're going to need is core wool. This is a core wool batting. I think it's just easier to work with than a roving, but either one will work. You're going to need your main cat color. Carded wool is always easier to felt with, so today I'm going to make him in orange for you. And this is a carded orange, so whatever your primary color is, grab some of that. And then you're going to need some accent colors. So for accents today, I have this beautiful milk chocolate brown color. I have this melon color, which I love. And those will be the primary accents on the cat itself, similar to what you see here and here. Then you'll need a bright white carded wool. This is Winter White by Living Felt. Actually, this brown is by Living Felt as well. It's called Milk Chocolate. And this is my very most favorite white. I'll never be out of this. I always order it. I hope they never run out of it. And you'll use that for his face and belly. Some additional colors that you're going to need are black for the eyes and the little paws. You don't need much. This is way more than we'll even need for this project. And then just a little pinch of 2 different colors of pink. If you don't have 2 different shades of pink, one is fine. Do not go and buy a whole, thing of pink just to get 2 shades. It's perfectly fine. You can even blend, this with like the light one with something a little bit darker to get a different shade if you want. So you're fine with that. If you have 2, great. You will need a ruler. The felting mat, I always forget to tell you guys about the felting mat. So you'll need the felting mat. And then for needles, I have a clover punch tool here. I have a clover pen tool, and the clover pen tool today has 2 42 triangles in it. I have a 36, a 38, and a 40. So we'll definitely be using all 3 of those throughout the project. And let's see, that is it for needles. You will need an awl. This is about 1/4 inch thick. If you don't have that and you have one of these like from a beginner kit, this will work. It's just going to take you a little bit longer because you're going to need to get in a pretty thick wire. So if you want to purchase one of these, it definitely would not be a bad thing to have in your stash. This one was given to me by my dad, so I don't have a link for this one. However, I'm sure you can find it on Amazon or in your local Home Depot. You will need a pair of scissors. You will need this 14 gauge aluminum wire. It's very easily bendable, so that's really good. And then you're gonna need some kind of a wire cutting tool. I use needle nose on this project because this also cuts and then it's a needle nose, so we're gonna cut the wire, and we're gonna have to turn the end of it just a little bit and pinch the end as well. So this will be very helpful today, but any wire cutting tool will be fine. This is so easily bendable that you can even bend it with your fingers if you needed to. This is the glue that we'll be using to get the tail to set in before we start wrapping it. It is a Gorilla Clear glue. This I love because it's very strong. So if you want this glue, go ahead and purchase this, but if you have a glue already that you're used to using, that's perfectly fine, okay? Just whatever you have on hand. This is, I just put this out. This is nothing that you can purchase. This is my armature wire needle. It's just an old needle that I don't care about, and I use it when I stab close to wire. So this is a little trick that I have. You just might want to have one needle on hand that you don't care about. And this is a 38 gauge, but it doesn't matter. I mean, as long as it's somewhere between a 38 to 40, it'll work for what we're doing today, okay? And it's just something that you don't care if it breaks. That's what I use that for. So I think that is it. I also have a cup of coffee, so go ahead and grab yours and we will get started. Okay, so the first thing that we're gonna do today is go ahead and cover the dryer ball, and we're gonna start with the belly side first. So you're gonna get your winter white, and you're just gonna grab enough to, cover the front. So if you can kind of see it here, I'm going around the bottom and just to come up to the top. So we're just doing this belly area up to where the head is going to be attached. So don't waste your wool. Just cover that little bit of an area that we need right now. And if you want to double it over, you definitely can, because we are going to end up with a very fat belly. So let me give you the measurements of this. So this is just about 7.5 to 8 inches long by about 3 to 4 inches wide. It does not have to be perfect. You'll see that with most of my projects, and I'm just gonna fold it right over on itself. And then this part right here that is the fold, I'm gonna put at the bottom of the belly. Okay, so let's lay that over. And you just wanna make sure you go a little bit to the sides and up to where the head's gonna be, and you'll be perfectly fine. If you wanna sort of curve the belly a little bit up like this, then you'll save yourself some work later. So it's not a bad idea to do that. Go ahead and grab your 38. Let me grab mine. We are going to tack this down completely with a 38, and then you'll see me come back and go over it with my clover punch tool, and then I'm gonna come on a third pass with my 242s and the clover pen tool. So I am gonna speed this up for you so that you don't have to sit through the entire thing. Go ahead and pause the video after you watch this and do the same, and then I'll be right back with you. Alrighty, so that is pretty good. That's 3 passes, and at the very end, we'll go ahead and go back over one more time. The main thing that I'm looking for right now is to make sure that this wool is secure to the ball. So if I go to move it with my finger, it's not gonna shift under my finger, and so this is good. The 3 passes that you saw just now, the 38, the clover punch tool, and then the 242s, it makes it a smoother felt for you. So a lot of people will ask me, how do you get your felt so smooth? Well, that's how. I generally do those 3 in a row, and if I feel like it's not smooth enough, I will go back and I'll do the punch tool again or the 242s again. So that's just, you know, a little tip for you guys. This fine line right here that I curved, that's going to be the bottom of our cat. And let's go ahead and put this aside, and I'm going to show you how to do the head and face. So I want to show you with this cat, first of all, the shape of this head, it's flat across the bottom, and then the rest of it is kind of like a football. So if you can imagine a football shape on this cat, look at the front and the back, you can definitely see the football shape there. Now it's not exactly like a football, it does have rounded ends here, but generally a cat's head is a football shape. If you look at it from the side, it's flat, and then there's this up angle like this, and then another up angle. So it's kind of, it goes up, and then there's a little bit of a ridge here, and then up, if you can see that, okay? And then it's rounded off at the top. So just like in my last 2 videos, I am gonna put the head shape up in the screen for you. Every time that we're working on the head, you'll have that as a reference. Especially with a cat head or cat face, they tend to be more difficult for people, I think, because there's so many different shapes and slopes and edges and things happening all at the same time. I'm gonna build this shape for you, and if you follow along and you build that shape, you will have this spot on, and you just keep these angles in mind as you do it, okay? So he does have the muzzle. He also has some cheeks here that we'll be adding later, so you don't have to worry about those right now. So let's build this. Here is the picture of the shape of the head on the screen. And I'm just gonna, I wanna start with a pretty good chunk. So let's see. Let me measure this, because that is about the right size, I feel. Okay, so this is about 7 by 6. And notice the thickness. Okay, so I pulled a pretty thick chunk. It's not just a thin layer like you would pull off of batting. So this is a few layers thick. It's about, if I squish it together, it's about 1 inch, but it just fluffy, it's about 2 inches. So that's kind of what you're looking for. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold this over about 1 inch at a time. So normally I make a very tight roll. We're not doing that with this one. We're gonna fold about 1 inch up, and then do that again, and do it again, and then everything that's left over on this top, I'm just gonna pull it down. Take your 36, and I just wanna focus right now on this center, and you don't have to stab through to the mat, just tack this all together. Okay, and let me go ahead and measure. So we're looking for, at the end result, we're looking for this to be about 2 inches tall and about 3.5 inches wide. So I want to keep those measurements as well. I have those on the picture for you as well. So right now, this is 2. So we are going to have to add a little bit more because it's going to felt down. So we're going to go down by 1/3. So we need to add a little bit more to this. And to do that, I'm just going to use this piece that already kind of was pulled. This is about 10 by 3. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of fold this over. This is going to end up giving us the height right here that we're going to be looking for. Okay, so just lay it on. Let's do it from the bottom up. Lay it on, and right in the center of this, you just want to roll it. Kind of keep it steady, like in the center there. Okay, and again, take your 36 and just tack that in. Now, every stab that you make should be purposeful. And what I mean by that is, as I'm stabbing here, I'm already thinking about the bottom of his head. So that's going to end up being flat. If you see right here, it's already starting its curve. So as I stab here, what I want to do is I want to already start shaping that curve. So I don't want to just stab it without really thinking about it. I have a purpose in every stab. This will be the back. And so I'm just tacking that all together and already kind of starting that shape. So you can see the flat and then the football shape starting right here, okay? So I didn't do that really tightly. I just wanted to get that tacked on. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna, right on the outside of where you wrapped, you're gonna take this end, pull it up, squish it together, and kind of pull it, making almost a triangle, and then take your 36 and stab that right in the center of what we've just done. This is going to end up being the beginning of our muzzle, so we want it right in the center. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on this side. So we're going to pull it up, kind of squunch it together a little, and right here in the center. Now, if you have anything extra, go ahead and pop it up, because we are going to end up needing a nose. So we can pop it up there. You don't have to pull it off. And just felt it in the same place that you felted the other one. I'm still using my 36, okay? So let's take a look at our shape. So it's already looking great. I have my flat, my rounded back, my round top. You can see the football shape already with that flat bottom. It's exactly what we want. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my 36, just a little more, stab that excess down, okay? And just go over it one more time with this 36. The 36 is a coarse needle, and so it really helps get a good foundation going. Lay down, Bubby. Good boy. I'm puppy sitting my sister's dog this week. She went to go see my other sister in Connecticut. And so I have Moonshine, that's his name. He is the cutest little thing ever. Love him, and I love when he's here. It's been a great week with him. I'll show y'all a picture. I'll put some pictures up on the screen. He'll probably fall asleep in a moment. Okay, so I'm just getting this together, you know, to where it's not gonna, like, it's not falling apart now. And then I'm gonna switch over to my 38. And what I wanna start doing right now with this 38 is start working on this muzzle, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and just sort of define that muzzle area. So from the bottom, I want to felt up into the muzzle. From the side, I want to felt towards the nose area. From the top, I want to felt down. And you can already see it shaping that muzzle. Felting is amazing. I'm turning it over just to get a better angle for you guys. But you can do it any way you want. Okay, we will end up squishing that together in a little while. Okay, but first what we need to do is go ahead now. Let me give you some dimensions now. So I'm still a little bit over 3.5. We're gonna end up at 3.5. And I'm about 2.5 there. So we're going for 3.5 by 2. It's still gonna keep coming down even though we're gonna be adding. Take your dryer ball, find the top, and I'm gonna do it this way for you just so you can see. But basically what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take my hands and I'm gonna squish this together, okay? I wanna squish it together and hold it on there. Now when you do it, you'll be doing it from the top. It's easier that way. I'm doing it this way so you can see by squishing it. We don't want to put it on there huge like that or we'll never felt it down. So we need to squish it and then we're going to felt it in place. Go ahead and go up about maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch and you're just going to felt in and under the head. So you don't want to felt straight into the ball like that. You want to get this and you're going to felt it down like underneath the head. This is going to sort of create a little bit of a neck. That's not going anywhere. All right, perfect. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and make this bottom chin. Let me put him aside, grab some of your winter white, and let me just sort of see how much we need. That's going to be perfect. So this is a 3 by almost 3 square. And all we're going to do is roll this up. You can roll it pretty tight. And then we're going to do the same thing we did on the face. Fold it in and fold it in from both sides. Take your 36 and sort of tack that down. Don't go all the way through the piece. There's really never a need to go all the way through. So I'm going to go from all angles. That part is tacked, so now I can turn it over. Sort of tack this area here. This part that we're tacking is going to be on the back, so we won't see it. So even if it looks a little bad, it's not going to matter. We're going to see this beautiful side right here. So you can see by doing that, you'll be able to tell like which side you're going to want to use for the top and which side you're going to want to use for the bottom. Sometimes it just kind of naturally goes that way. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just sort of shove it right up under these two muzzle pieces. Shove it right up there. And take my 36 just to tack it in. I'm gonna lay this flat so you can see. I'm gonna go around the base. Just to tack it in here. And I wanna go ahead and go a little bit harder on these edges here, just so I'm pushing it down at a little angle. using the needle to my advantage. That's the angle that I want. So I'm gonna push it in that angle. This is why I like to mold on the face. Not doing the center yet. Just gonna do these two sides. Like to mold on the face so that I can see where it's gonna land and exactly how I want it to be. The bottom of the chin, you can see here, comes up like that. So we're gonna go ahead and do that with our needle. I'm gonna move over to the 38, which is more of a sculpting needle. I'm gonna turn it upside down and I'm gonna felt straight up. That's gonna give us that little bit of a rise in the chin and help us get the shape we're looking for. Okay. Now for this part here, I do want it to sort of come up and meet the muzzle. So I didn't felt the center. I'm gonna literally just pull it up a little bit with my fingers and then take the tip of that and I'm gonna felt that down. Just pull it up and felt that down. Anything that looks like it's pulling up over here, just felt it back. You can cover that with a little bit of white too if we need to. So let's push it kind of up into that area. Very good. Okay, that's really good for now. I'm taking my 38 and I am going back over this little muzzle area. Just to sort of define the muzzle, just like we did before. All right, looking really, really good. So, so now on the, you can see the football. Can y'all see it? I see it. And so now we're just gonna keep encouraging that football shape. So I'm gonna just sort of go over from the front to the back, sort of in a, like almost like a semicircle. You're just sort of felting from the front to the back, just encouraging that shape. Perfect. Okay. Let's get his color on. We'll do that next. So get your main cat color, whichever you chose. I'm going to go ahead and use orange on this one. And let me just sort of lay this on and see what I think we're going to need. So you want to kind of get it to where you're going to overlap a little on the white. This is probably too much of an overlap, so let me pull that down. On the bottom, you don't need too much of an overlap. You want to be able to overlap there, okay? So that's really good. And then we're going to come up around the back of the head. If you kind of look at these guys, right to the edge. Okay, so we're gonna just basically come right up there. I'm gonna go ahead and allow that to be my pull. Hold it tight and pull it, and let me measure that for you. Okay, so 8 by 5, that's perfect. 8 by 5. So if you pull 8 by 5, you should be really, really good. Okay, let's start with the bottom. I'm gonna put him head down here. And I'm gonna go ahead and fold it over and sort of lay it right on that white line. So I'm gonna have a little overlap here. Let's just start there. I'm gonna put it down with my 242s. And the reason I wanna do that is because the 242s are not as hard as my 38 and my 36. So if I make a mistake, I can pull it out easier. I can pull it out no matter what, but if I make a really bad mistake, I can pull it out easier. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and fold this under, and we're just gonna follow this white line here. Now it's a little thicker here than there. It doesn't matter, it's okay. He's gonna have all kinds of things on him, like arms and big belly. It's all gonna work out in the end, I promise. Okay, so let's go to this side over here. Sometimes under the light, it's kind of hard to see where you ended. Okay, so let's get that. You'll see it's funny when you do it this way. We'll probably end up having a little more than we needed, but I'd rather have a bigger piece than not. Okay, and then pull that right up. Let's get some more in here. Just pull it. Make it do what you want. Okay. And we're gonna go right up to like where we ended that bottom, the chin, bottom lip area. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna stab over this just to hold this part down a little bit. We'll come back and actually get it in there really good in a little bit here, but I'm just gonna tack it. We just want it tacked a little. He looks like he has a cape now. I'm so glad we went with orange. He's so cute. Okay, this is gonna be such a cute cat, you guys. Okay, so now at the top here, hold on to this top edge, and you're gonna kind of pull this over, and we're gonna make what's kind of like a widow's peak right here. Okay, but it's gonna have like almost a blunt edge at the bottom and not a triangle. See? Well, it's a little bit of a triangle. But that's gonna go actually under the nose. You won't see this triangle. Okay, so we wanna stab that part down. And then over here, so all of this is gonna be white, unless you want your this is the muzzle, so that's gonna be white. The cheeks are gonna be down here. We will see, let me see how this turns out. I might actually make the cheek out of this excess, okay? So what we'll do is we'll fold this down. You want enough for like a big white area. I'm gonna pull this over here, if you can see. So we're gonna have like a big white area here. And then this is the cheek, and I'm gonna make the cheek with this color, okay? So leave yourself a big area there. Let's go ahead and tack that down. So this is all gonna be white. Okay, the cheek is gonna go right here under the muzzle. And I have a lot of leftover, so I'm actually gonna fold that. I'm gonna fold it under and kind of group it right there to make a little cheek. Let me see how much I can get up there. So if you can kind of see, I just sort of took all of that excess and I pushed it into that one area. I'm gonna tack it down. If you have too much and you need to pull some off, you always can, okay? Be careful with your fingers here. This is loose, so you're gonna have to kind of shape it into the cheek. If you don't wanna do it this way, you can always roll a little piece and pop it on. That's actually how I did it on this one. I rolled a little piece, like just a little pillow, and popped it on. So many different ways to do the same thing in felting. Okay, but we're just gonna use what we have, and we'll sort of shape it the same way we did the muzzle. If you just keep going around it, it's gonna create that little bump. It's probably gonna look more natural doing it this way too, just because it's all the same piece of felt. Just need a little bump, that's all. It's just a cheek. Okay. He could be a little penguin right now, actually. Okay, so now we're gonna do the same thing here. Make sure that this is about the same size. Okay, let's get that one tacked down with our 242s. And then come back over here and we'll sort of take all that excess and put it into that cheek area, just like we did on the other one. You wanna make sure it's in the same spot. I'm gonna start it with the 242s and then shape it with this 38. I'm just kind of creating a little round pillow with the needle. I'm pushing the needle in that direction. Just to give him some chubby cheeks. Okay. So let's get this part stabbed down a little bit. Now that it's all in place, now we can just start smoothing it out. So now I'm gonna take, it looks funny right now, but it will not look funny in a moment, I promise you. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my 38 and do the same thing that we did earlier on the belly. I'm gonna go over the entire thing. I'm gonna follow up with the clover punch tool and then the 242s, okay? I'm gonna speed that up for you and you can watch, pause and do that along with me. I'm gonna start in the center and then go up and down. Alrighty, looking great. It's looking great, looking great. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is get the white part of the face on. So grab a little bit more of the winter white. Let me just hold this over so I can kind of see how much we need. Probably. We're gonna go with this amount and try to make it a good rectangle here. And this is 5 by 3. So 5 by 3 should do it for you if you're following the dimensions. And I'm gonna lay it right over everything, okay? Now, I'm putting his belly away from me. And what I wanna do is I'm laying it over, so it's even over the chin right now. I'm gonna fold it up in the center here, right above where that chin goes, okay? And then I'm gonna make sure that I have enough to go around the entire thing. I pulled a big enough piece, okay? Let's take our 38 and we're gonna tack it right there, right above the chin. Just tack it down. Okay, so now let's go over to this side. You're going to come up where you ended there with the orange, and you are going to fold it under. I'm kind of overlapping the chin area here. Take your 38, and if you can see, I'm not going into the chin. I'm following the line of the chin. So I'm just going to go ahead and tack it right around that line of the chin, the outside edge. And then I'm going to come up here, make sure I can see. Come up here, and I'm just going to follow this orange line around. I've already got my white folded. I'm going to follow that around, and I'm just tacking it down right now, all the way around. Okay, go ahead and do this top area. If you can't get those pieces out, it's okay. If you've seen any of my videos before, I always say that they don't felt in, so they will come to the surface, and eventually we'll get them. Be patient. Okay, so I'm just folding it over and tacking it alongside that orange for now. Just doing this outside edge. Okay, let's go to this other one here. It's good to start down here because then we know how much we have to work with it up top. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. I'm just going to sort of follow that line. Follow that line down. This is naturally creating our lip line here, which is kind of cool. Tack it anywhere you see the core wool. We're going to fold that under just like we did on the other side. Kind of look and see the shape that you had, and you want to make sure that you are matching that shape. Okay. It's really easy to just get carried away and then not match the two sides. It needs to be symmetrical. I might have a gap of core wool there, and that's okay. I will come back and fill that in, either with white or orange, whatever it needs. Okay. Just doing the same thing all the way around here. Okay, now at the top, I'm going to take this and I'm going to tuck it all the way under. This is going to help us make the bridge. So I just tucked it completely under. Looks kind of funny, but that is going to help us make that bridge. So let's come on the top of that, just right where I tucked it, and let's tack that down. You're going to go right over the orange now. We're actually covering some orange. So just at the top of this white, let's tack this down. Okay. Now we're going to finish off these eye areas. I'm going to start going into the actual wool now and going towards the head, because it's going to need to come down. It's a little poofy. And I also want to remember that I have a muzzle here. So the eye is going to be here, and this is going to be our little muzzle area. So as I'm using my 38, which is my sculpting needle, I'm going to start to separate those two. So I want to outline my muzzle again now that I have my white. Just outline that muzzle. always stabbing towards the center of the muzzle will help you to outline it. As you're going around it, just go on the outside edge of it and stab towards that center. So in creating a really definite line here that you can see to sort of define that muzzle. Okay, and then the eye will be up in this area. All right, let's tack this part down. And we're going to do the same thing on this side. If part of it looks funny right now, don't worry about it. It's all going to come together. Sometimes it's hard to see. That's why I like to sort of have the cats sitting here, or the piece that we're making sitting here, so you can sort of see what the end goal is. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and outline this part of the muzzle here, making sure that I'm matching on this side. You can see how the cheeks have already come down just from the 3 passes that we made with the 38, the clover punch tool, and the 242s. So they're already looking very natural. And what I do is I just keep looking from side to side and making sure that whatever I do on one side, I do on the other side. The bridge is going to go here. It's not there yet. Okay. So that's really good. It's a good spot for me to switch over to my 242s. And the reason being is that the 38 is for sculpting. The 242s are sort of for refining. If you are not sure when to switch needles and what they're for, I have a really great tutorial where I went over many different needles, what they do, how they felt, in the wool, and compared them and talked about the coarseness and the gauges and everything. So if you are not familiar with the needles and you want to learn about that, please go watch that. It's a great resource for you. I'm trying to put resources out for people that are new, so that you can learn these things, because a lot of times you'll see somebody pick up a needle and switch and you don't know why. And when I would watch tutorials, I'd be like, wait, why did you switch? Why did you switch? But if it's never told to you, then you don't know why. And then it makes it a little bit more difficult to know when you're on your own and you want to felt something without a tutorial. How do I know what to use? How do I know what to pick up? So that's why I'm trying to, come up with these beginner tutorials, because I knew that would have helped me a lot in the beginning. And there are a lot of great people out there that you can learn from. But, I just want to, add to that, to the great videos that are already out there. That's how I learned, watching YouTube videos. I think that's one of the reasons I wanted to do this so bad, is because I learned and I want to help people learn. Because I love it. I love this a lot, so much. Okay. So, using my fingers to make sure that we're staying in our football shape. Put it down like this so you can kind of see. You can always use your hands to mold and shape as well. looking at this side, you see it's flat. And then we are coming up at this angle. There's a little ridge right now, and then we have this angle. And then it slides over in a curve. The back definitely looks football shaped, so that's good. So that's what you're going for here. Okay, we have a little bit of touch up to do with the orange. We'll definitely do that, don't worry. So now I want to take my muzzle and I want to go ahead and pinch it. It's like, oh my God, I just did all this work. Now I'm going to pinch it. But I am going to pinch it together to where these two pieces are touching. And I want to take my 36 because we need I'm having to push with some strength here. I don't know if you can see that. So I want this strong needle to be able to hold it. So I'm going to go from this side of the muzzle into the other side. And from that side of the muzzle into this side. Just going right into the other piece, the other side of the road there. And then we can kind of go down the center just to make sure we hold it. And flatten that out. That's good. Looking good, looking good. Okay, so when I look at this, we can go a little flatter with these eyes. So let me just sort of pop the top of these down a little bit. If you like them big like that, you can definitely leave it. This is sort of the eyelid area. This is the top of the, oops, this is the top of the muzzle. Just separating it one more time. This is the eye. I want them to be equal. And so when I look at them right now, this side is not the same as this side. So this side has to come down some, or I need to add more to the other side. Which I actually think I might do because this side is not looking super bad. Let me grab a little bit of white. I'm just gonna take, this is a 1-inch piece. I'm gonna just take a little bit of that and I'm gonna fold it right up here. Let's just make it match this way. We had a little refining to do up here anyway. So we'll make it match like that. Give him a big old eye. So you can always add and you can take away. If you don't have a seam ripper in your arsenal of tools, you definitely want to get one. Because if you ever have something on here that you want to get out, a seam ripper is your fastest way to do it. There, see how that's matching? Either one goes down or one goes up, but just gotta make it match. Okay. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and do the nose and bridge. And I'm going to do that with white as well. This is probably about 3 3/4 by 1 1/2-ish. Just fold it. Let me move this and I'll show you on the mat. So just put it lengthwise like a rectangle. Fold it in on itself. And let's take our 242s and stab that down a bit. Again, you do not have to go through the mat, into the mat, just stab it down. Okay, so this is the part I stabbed. This is the front. So I'm going to go on the part I stabbed, and I'm going to roll this up into kind of like a little button nose. You can kind of see. So I just rolled up maybe 2-3 times, and then I'm pulling this over on the right and on the left. Okay, I'm going to take that and I'm going to turn it back now to where it's on the right side. I want to be above the muzzle, and I'm going to put this little nose right, this little button nose right above the muzzle, so you can see it. It's sitting right there. It's crazy to me how the wool shapes and molds. It's nuts. I'm just tacking it on very gently right now with the 36. I'm going to get rid of that, find my 38, which is over here. Okay, I'm going to lay it flat so that I have a something to push against. Okay, and I'm just going to tack that down, come up to this area here, and just start shaping that nose. Now you can see this is coming right up into to be the bridge. One thing that happened with the other two cats is that I did the nose and the bridge separately, and I had this little dent, and I really don't like that dent. So we're going to try to rectify that on yours so we don't end up with this big dent. So the nose is tacked. Let's go ahead and come up to this, and we're going to just take what's left and fold it straight under. So that's going to sort of fill in that area where there would have been the dent. Okay, hold it down, take your 38, and just do the outline of this little bridge. Okay, now let's make the top of the nose. So we're just going to go right across right there where the nose goes. And then you can kind of go down flat into it. And then we have to decide, you know, how do we want this? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to fan this out a little, just to make it a little more natural. Fan it out. I'm going to put it kind of like here and felt this in. I know we're covering orange, and that's okay. Do not worry about that. There'll be layer upon layer on anything that you work on. Okay, so just start working on the sides of the bridge. See how it's kind of, we're going to angle, we're working on this angle. So we're trying to angle this way, okay? I'm actually going to do it this to the side so you can see. So as I'm felting, I'm angling. I want that angle. If you look at your picture, you'll see that angle. And that's what I'm working towards. So that's why my needle is going that direction. I need to turn it so I can see. Much better. See how there's no big dent there? Every time you make something, improve upon what you did last time. Okay, so now that we have that finished, we are in the home stretch, you guys. So let's go ahead and cover his little nose. Grab your lighter of the two shades of pink, and you're gonna pull off, this is probably 1 inch. Let's just to be sure. Yeah, 1 inch, like not even, it's not even super thick either. And just kind of fold that into a little cat nose shape. So that is actually going to be like, you know, a little triangle with a flat top. And let's pop it right on that little nose that we just did. Get your 38, just gently, gently tack around the outside edge, specifically the bottom right now. Tack it down. I had a little bit of wool that wasn't quite over, so I just pulled it with my needle. Only do that if you know that, you know, the wool's not in there super tight so that it would break on you, like break your needle. You don't want that. Okay, so I'm tacking that outside edge down. I'm just pulling my wool where it needs to go. And then on the top, I'm just going to go straight down just to give a little shape to the nose. I'm going to grab my 40 now. And I'm just going to, from all those angles that we just did, I'm going to continue doing that with my 40. So down from the top and then across. Then sideways up into the nose. And this is all with the 40. I'm going to go down at an angle here. And every time we punch with this needle, we are shaping, but it's not a super strong needle, so it's doing it very lightly for us. I'm going to go ahead and round this little bit of white. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. He is a cutie patootie, I'm telling you what. I really like this little cat. Okay, so then we're going to take a little bit of this, and I say a little bit, I mean a pinch, less than we, like a half of that pinch, less than we had for the pink on the nose. Okay, so you're just going to make this into a little line, a little string, and you're going to hold it down. It's easy for me to use this finger. I hold it there, and then I can come hold it on this side with that finger. Still with my 40, I'm just going to tack. I don't want to go way up on the top of the nose. What we're looking for is right here in the front. Just want this little line, and it's going to give it some dimension. Okay, so let me get that. I let go. Okay, so I'm going to just tack it right there. We're just going to get a little dimension here. If you feel like it's not thick enough, you can come back up with your excess. And you can just tack it in like that. Now I'm just going to go over it just to get it in there, sort of establish that center line. He's looking really cute. It's a little crooked, and that's okay. This is where you're going to start to see personality coming out. A few things to trim up there. I'm going to round out these edges a little with my 40 still. Let's go back over the top. Okay. It's really good for now. let's take this dark pink again and make a little bit of a longer line. I'm going to start here and go ahead and take some more of this pink, and we're going to go right down through the muzzle. Let's hold it down here first and go right into the center of the muzzle. When you're doing a straight line, it's good to drag your needle. So you're going to stab and drag, stab and drag. If you want to learn how to do straight lines and also curved lines, I do have some practice drills that you can go check out. And it's basically how to master that, because a lot of people have trouble with straight lines and curved lines. And so I have some practice drills you can do. Go check them out. They're in the main playlist of my videos, and they're also in their own playlist as well, practice drill playlist. So I'm taking it all the way down here, and then I want him to be happy, so we're going to curve it up at the end, and I'm going to just curve that right in to his little muzzle right there. I'm going to clip that part off just because I don't want it to go up too far. And let me just stab that in right there. So now he's got a cute little smile. Let's do it on the other side as well. This was what I just cut off. Let's see how far we can get with this. You always want to hold one side down and stab the other side, and the reason being is that it'll curl up on you. It'll like scrunch up on you, and you won't be able to get a good line out of that. Okay, I want to make sure I'm not frowning. I want to go up, get a little bit more. So you can kind of see right here, there's a little gap. I'm going to go ahead and lay this right over. If you see a little gap, do the same thing. Just hold both sides down and stick it back in there. Just going to fill that little gap area. And then just drag and stab. Sort of double layering it here. Now I just need the little curve up. Didn't plan that super great. That's okay. We can't always do everything right. See how that bunched up on me? It's because I did what I told you not to do, and I didn't hold it. So you would definitely need to hold it down and just curve that right up into the little, not way up high on the muzzle, just kind of in the bottom of that muzzle. It's all going to come together. Look at that. Okay. That is really good for now. We're just going to fine tune this whole spot up here now. Taking my 242s, and I'm just kind of going over everything that we just did. Okay, so now we are going to take our 36, and right here I'm gonna draw out where I want my eye to be. Okay, so I'm gonna start at the highest point. I'm just gonna make a little poke so I can see that. And then I'm gonna want the beginning of it to come down and start over here. And then the end of it is gonna kind of come over here and come out. So I have a dot in the middle on the top, the beginning of the eye, and the end. And I'm gonna just join those lines in a curve. And I'm just dragging and poking. This is gonna help so that you can really get a good line and you're not trying to figure out when you have the black in your hand what to do. Just go over that a few times. I like a little bit of a, almost like an eyeshadow. I think I have a piece of, I'm gonna get that out. It's a piece of vegetable matter right there. See, these are the things that are gonna happen and we just have to deal with them. This is the real deal here. Nothing fancy, no fancy pants on my channel. Okay. Okay, so let's do the same thing over here. I'm gonna start at the top. So I know it's gonna be right about there. I'm gonna put my little dot over here where I want the eye to start. And then I'm gonna put where I want it to end over here. Okay, and then I'm just gonna join those lines together in a curve. I am dragging my needle because if I try to lift and stab, I am gonna end up getting off course. So I like to drag it when I'm making any kind of a line. I like to drag. So now I can see how this one is nice and wide and this one is a little bit thinner. I really want them both the same. So I'm gonna come back over this one and I'm gonna try to rectify that and make it nice and wide. Need to go out, I think, a little further. There, much better. All right, get some black and just a little pinch for each eye. Make a line. It's kind of nice on the eyes to do it a little thick. Hold it down in the front on the very, first little stab there. Fold it into that curve that you just made. Take your 40 and go to the end, and let's put the end down first. Okay, then we're gonna just drag and stab. Gonna pull the wool to the center. So wherever your needle is, the wool is gonna go there. Those little barbs are pulling that wool over. Okay. Do it again on the other side. Let's do a little bit of coloration here. I want to grab my melon, which I've been staring at for a while, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of the melon right across that white that we had earlier. Right across it. This is a merino, so it's not going to felt the same as my carded wool. That's okay. Go ahead and put that down. I like his bridge. See the bridge of the nose, how it's just really making that nice slope. I like that. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of this brown. I'm going to start throwing some accent colors in now and just pull that right over it as well. You can do any accent colors anywhere on the cat you want. If you want it all one color, you can do that. So if you want it all one color, you'll just do this with the orange or with whatever color you chose. I'm going to take some of the orange and make like a little, almost like a web. And I'm going to lay that right over the top of that. Bringing that orange back in. I'm going to fan it out. I don't want a big clump. Okay, that's great. All right. So we need to work on the tail, the arms, the feet, and the ears. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the ears next. I would say they're probably the easiest. And you're going to pull about 2 by 2 piece twice. So I'm not counting the fuzzies. So 2 by 2 with some fuzzies on them. And what we're going to do is go ahead and take your 36. Let's see if I can get, there's some vegetable matter. If you can get the vegetable matter out, do it. If not, don't worry about it because it will come out on its own as well. So we're going to make almost like a triangle. Right now I am kind of stabbing into the mat, but not terribly hard. Like I can still lift it, see? So I did sort of tack it into the mat. When you do flat pieces, you do need to utilize the mat for that. But I try not to stab into the mat otherwise. I'm going to use, let's use the light pink because we only have that on his nose. I'm going to put a little bit of this light pink up in the ear. This front side is going to be the inside of the ear. And then when we turn it over, we'll do some accent colors like we did on the top of his head. Okay, roll your sides just over. And let's get 38. 38 is best for sculpting and molding. And I'm going at an angle because my point is not to be stabbing the mat right now. My point is to be stabbing the ear. So I'm going to kind of go at an angle. I'm going to fold that over. So I'm going to turn my mat just so I can get a better angle. Roll that up. And then I have a little too much at the top. Okay, so just roll that side up. Let's do that one first. Lost my 38. I'm gonna go sideways there. Okay, and then my top, I'm just gonna sort of make a tip. Okay, I'm gonna straighten that back out for you. So just fan out that pink. Now we have a basic shape. I'm going to do the same thing for this one. Then you're going to take your clover punch tool and gently punch. I'm not trying to secure this to the mat. I just want to get my fibers together. So I'm gently punching. Look how I can still pull it up. Turn it over. Let's start establishing a piece of felt, basically. They don't look the same or they're not the same size. Don't freak out right now. We're gonna fix it all. Nothing you ever do when you're creating should freak you out, because this is our time to relax, right? This is our time to like just be at peace. Don't worry about the worries of the world. We're creating. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of my melon color on there, and I'm gonna just sort of make it come to a point at the top. And I'm gonna put a little bit of brown right at the tip of the ear. Just kind of like when cats have that, the tip, like that. And go back over it with my punch tool. Okay, pull it up, turn it over. Now, if anything's hanging over, just pull it in front. We've all seen cats' ears, and we know that they have markings on the front and the back. And we never know what it's going to be. So anything that you see, you can just pull right over, tack that down. I'm using the 242s to do that. Let me go back over these with the 242s gently. I'm really trying not to stab completely through. I don't want my melon to show up in the front and my pink to show up in the back. I'm just trying to get these fibers joined. But sometimes you just have to be gentle when you're doing it. Just lift it, make sure that you're not stabbing to the mat. And you're just going to keep doing this now until it's pretty felted, pretty well felted. I have a good piece on both of them. Okay. Get your cat and hold it up, and let's compare. Squunch your ear together like that. And let's see how big it is. So those are really large, and that's okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this scissor, and now I'm going to cut the shape that I want of my ear. That's how I get my nice edge on my ear. And if you want, you can also just hold it together and make sure they're both the same shape. Put all that aside. Take your 42s and go back on the edge. Just to make sure that we're establishing that edge. See how that trimmed it up really nice? And now we have a nice little trimmed edge there. If anything gives us trouble, it's going to be that merino. Okay. Now, go back and hold it again. Now we're gonna take it and we're gonna take the two ends and we're gonna cup it together. So it's almost like a little petal. See how it comes out and then you have that little cup? Then you hold it. Now it should be perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and keep the cup like that. Take my 30A and I'm gonna just stab that down with that cup shape right there. Just wanna substantiate the ear, get it in place, and then we can come back and perfect it, okay? So do the same thing. You're gonna make that little cup so it comes out on the back. Hold it where you want it. Take a look. Keep the cup and stab it down. Okay, so now take a look at it. See if that's how you like the ears. Got a little bit of wild accent colors going here. You'll always see something that needs to be touched with the needle. Okay, so inside, I'm gonna take my 38, inside, I'm gonna go right into the center where we cupped it, and I'm gonna felt straight down. Do the same thing on this one. If you don't feel it's strong enough, you can grab your 36. You wanna make sure this is a good, secure attachment. Okay, come to the back and do the same thing. Just try not to get it out of that cup shape. That's really gonna help him look more natural. Now my stuff never looks natural. I mean, it doesn't ever look like a real animal. It always has a little bit of a cartoony look. But just like I told somebody yesterday who was upset about theirs looking cartoony, I told them, I said, look, anybody can look at a picture and do exactly what the picture says, but not everybody can have an imagination and, you know, just go from the imagination. No matter how hard I try, I can't do realism. I've never been able to. Mine are always wonky, but I like that. I like the wonky. Okay, so I'm gonna just keep working on the backs of the ears here. I'm really liking the coloration. Super cute. The last thing that you can do is, and we can figure out like if you're gonna want them down, like this guy, let's see, this one I kind of made him a little bit down like that. Super cute. And these guys, this was up. I really like the down look, but for now I'm just gonna leave it like that. A little bit of loose merino there, so I'm just gonna try to stab that in. Cute, 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 cute. Okay, so let's work now on the arms. All right, so go ahead, go back to whatever color you want the arms. Now you can make decisions here. You can decide if you want, like this guy was all the same color. I just did him all the same color. This guy, I used variations. So I started his arms with more of the brown, and I put a lot of brown and melon in his tail, put brown on the top, brown on the back of his ears. So he had a lot of coloration, almost kind of like a calico. So you can decide what you want to do. And whatever you decide, that's what you're going to pull right now. So this one is about 5 by 2. I'm going to pull 2 that size. So about 5 by 2. right around there. One's a little smaller, and that's okay. And then I'm gonna do like a 2 by 2. It's just a little fist pull there. Actually, this might be 3 by 3, so I'm gonna pull those down some. I only want about 2 by 2 for the little feet. Okay, so 2 by 2, 5 by 2. And this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna start on the arms, lay it flat, roll it super tight. Right now we're looking for tight. We're gonna roll it up, just keep pulling it and rolling it, pulling it towards you and rolling it up. You can spread that out a little bit and just keep rolling it up. Go to a different part of my mat. I'm just kind of sticking on that part. Okay, so when you get it rolled up, take your 242s and we're going to try to keep this in a round shape. So I'm going to work on the sides and go towards the center. So I rolled it over and I'm doing the same thing on the back side. But I don't want to touch the end that's going to attach. So this end is going to attach. I don't want to do that one. And then this front part is going to be the paw. So what I want to do there is I want to start rounding it out. So I'm going to go do the end of it towards the arm. And in my mind, I'm picturing a paw. It really helps if you're picturing what you're felting. I'm turning it over, just kind of felting it down, felting that rounded paw. I'm going to go back over this. Okay, and then this is going to be the top. So on the bottom of the paw, take your 36. Do not go all the way through it, but just with the very, very tip of your needle, just make some indentions. And this is going to help cup the paw over like that. Look at that. How cute. Cute, cute, cute. Okay. I'm going to take my 38 just because it's a little stronger, and I'm just going to come back over this end right here. That's your first one. For the foot, you're going to, it's very simple. You're just going to make like, fold it over all the way around and make like a quarter, like a round quarter shape, like that. Take your 38, just sort of stab it together. Then you're going to kind of fold it over on itself a little on one side. And do the same thing. Fold it over on itself on the other side. So it's a quarter, and then we're turning it into a rectangle almost. Okay, and then on the end, let's get our 42s and do the same thing. We're rounding out that paw. And then we're going to take our 36 and we're going to make a little indent. So it looks like that. Okay, go ahead and do these two and then the other two and come back. I'm going to do them for you all sped up, okay? Alrighty, so once you are done with the little hands and feet, then grab your black and we're gonna pull off a pinch about the size of a dime. About the size of a dime. Maybe the nickel, maybe it's a nickel. So pull off a piece about the size of a nickel and then go ahead and break this up into 4 pieces. And then each one of those pieces, we're gonna break up into 4 pieces. Don't worry if you don't think you have the right size or something like that. It's not an exact science, honestly. This is just the way that I do it to try to get them as equal as possible, but sometimes you'll see one is bigger than the other. And so like on this one, I can actually take a little from this one and put it over here because that one was tiny. And we're just gonna do this for each of these. So divide them into 4 little pieces. And I'm gonna show you how to do this on one of the paws and then do them all for you. This is super, super easy. So I'll speed it up for you, but before I do that, you may have seen in the sped up version of the feet that I added a little bit more wool. I just want to tell you why I did that. This one was a little bit smaller or too thin. And so I just took a little tuft of wool and wrapped it around. So sometimes when you're making things, you'll see that they're not exactly symmetrical and you may have to add or take away. So that's all I did there if you had seen that. Let me start on this foot right here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll this wool into little strings, little lines, and then we're gonna tack on the top 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just let the string dangle, turn it over, pull it over, and then tack it on the bottom. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna create these little paws. Okay, so let me show you how I do it. So you're just gonna roll each one of these. It's not a whole lot of wool, but you want to try to get them at least to where they're going to wrap around top to bottom. You can just rub it in your fingers and just sort of draft it out a little bit just to get it a little bit longer. So now that I have 4, we're gonna do this just like we did the eyes. I'm gonna hold down one end here and then one end out on the mat. I'm gonna kind of pull it and hold it on the mat, and I'm just gonna tack it in where I want that toe to start. And then get your next one and do the same thing. Just hold it down and just tack that end where you want it to start. And do it again. Just kind of make sure you have enough room for the 4 of them. I'm just holding it down on the mat right here so it doesn't bunch up on me. And then you take your paw and turn it over. And we are gonna pull the first one up. And now I'm gonna hold it kind of tight, tack it where I want it to end, and then tack it in. Have a lot left over there, so you can either tuck it all in just with your needle, which is fine, or you can cut it off, whichever you want. And then you're going to take your next one, and do the same thing. You want to try not to go through the foot into the mat, but you may, because this is a little tiny piece. Just try to practice going at an angle like this, kind of like at a 45-degree angle. But if you do go through, I'm going to show you in a second how you can fix that. So this one actually broke. Let me go ahead and tack it on, and then we'll fix it. So it broke. It's not a big deal. I'm just going to tack it on this side, and then I'm going to pull this up, and I'm going to just do the opposite, pull it back around to the front. Okay, as long as you just get that little line around the paw, that's all that matters. So you can see here where I did stab through to the mat, and now I have all this fuzz, okay? So there's a couple of things that you can do. The easiest thing is just cut it off, and I take my scissors and I'm gonna push down onto the paw so I get kind of below the surface, and then clip. So then the only thing that you can see here is just a little tiny bit of that black. Then another thing that you can do is take your needle and just where you see the black, just felt that in, and you're kind of pushing it down below the orange. So I find that it doesn't really matter that much in this situation, because like I told you earlier, all cats have different markings. So the fact that a little black is there is not going to be a big deal. If you don't like it, you can just get another little pinch, and with your 242s, you can just cover that up very gently. Don't go back through the surface again, or else you'll just be non-stop covering up for the next 20 minutes or so. Back and forth, back and forth. But that's a way to fix it. I wanted to show you how to fix it, so that if you did do that, which it's very simple to do in this situation, you can remedy it, okay? I'm gonna do the rest of the little toe beans on all these feet, and then speed this up for you, and be right back to start the tail. Okay, so I did try not to go through each one of those, and I did end up going through, and so that's going to be a really good thing to practice, I think, for everybody, because it is pretty difficult not to go all the way through, and especially when you're working at, you know, on trying to get something attached on both sides. So I don't know, maybe I'll do a practice drill on that, and see if we can master that. So we need to attach these now to the new little kitty. And let me show you these two. So both of them, I kind of wanted their paws. So this one here, he has his paws kind of in front like that. And then this one, he has his paws in front too, but they're kind of down like that. So you can do this any way that you want. I like them in front like that. But if you wanted it to be like a little different, you totally could do it different. If you wanted one down, or, you know, maybe you wanted his little paws up, however you want to do it. We just want to get the shoulder area right below this chin. So that's the most important thing. So you see, make sure that you don't go past the center with the paw, and then whatever's left on this shoulder area is going to go right under the chin. I'm going to take my 36 and I'm just going to go ahead and stab it in a shoulder shape. So I'm going around in a shape like this. I don't want to make it completely flat and then have to go back and add more wool. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that it goes to the center and then find my chin. You can see this one doesn't go as far as the other one did, but as long as the center's correct, that's okay. We can fix the rest. Okay, so this one, I'm just gonna go ahead and stab it in. That's not exactly where my shoulder needs to be. So I'm just gonna get it in there, and then we'll add a little bit more wool right here. Okay, so for the feet, what you can do is sort of hold them up and see exactly where you want them to be. You can put them together. You can separate them out like that. Whatever you think is cutest. I always think separated out is cutest. So I'm just gonna hold that down and go ahead and take my 36 and tack those down. I use the 36 to tack these to the body because the 36, of course, is the strongest needle that I'm using here today. A 32 would work as well. It's even stronger than this one. But I want to make sure that it's adhered really well. And then you can take a little piece of his main color and just lay that right over. And then take your 242s and just felt that on. And let it blend right into his little hiney there. He's a cutie. I think on this one, I'm not going to tack his arms down. I'm just going to let them stay loose. These other two, I did sort of tack a little bit here and here, but I kind of like his loose. It's almost like he's gesturing or something like that. So now get your color of your cat and kind of just wind it up in a little bit of a, like almost like a little circle. This was just literally a 1-inch pull. And I'm going to lay that right over, and with my 242s, I'm going to go ahead and blend that, making the shoulder shape again right into this arm. And if anything comes over and goes onto the cat, that's fine. I just want to concentrate on this shoulder shape right here. Anything extra can just be blended in flat to the cat. Okay. I'll do the same thing right here. Just lay it down to where you feel like it's kind of creating that shoulder shape. Let that do the work for you. Now you can, depending on, you know, how you want your cat to look. This one, I did a huge shoulder. You can do that if you'd like. This one, I just kind of left it normal. So it's completely up to you. If you want his shoulders to be bigger, just keep adding the wool and make it as big as you want. If you want the belly bigger, you can always add more white to the belly as well. It's really all your choice, is how you want your cat to turn out. So this one, I'm gonna just leave this size, but you can see, like on this guy, I gave him a little bit, another little layer here on his belly and a little bit of girth here on his hips. We can give this boy something on his hips, okay? So this is a 2-inch piece. I'm gonna lay that down right here where his hip would be. And I'm gonna go ahead and felt that in the shape of a hip. Let it kind of go down over the bottom of the foot. It's not covering the whole foot. And I'm just gonna work it towards that shape. So the needles are always gonna go in a circular motion towards the center, basically. Now I have the whole outside done, and I'm just gonna go gently over the center. Okay, we can do the same thing on this one. So many options with this little boy. There, he's got 2 cute little hips. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is take your 36. If you want him to have a belly button, this is the time, you know, good time to do it. So go ahead and find where the belly button would be and stab that in. I'm using the 36 because it's the strongest one. And then since I have this in my hand, I'll go ahead and use this right now on my whiskers. I'm gonna make 4 holes here, and right above it 4 more holes. Make sure they're right on top of each other. Okay, that's all you have to do. That gives him a little bit of a whisker look, whisker-esque. And turn him over. And you are going to get your wire and put it on his back where the tail should be. And you're gonna pull it out about 1.5 inches to 2 inches. That's probably about 2 inches right there. Yeah, almost 2 inches past where it's gonna be inserted. And then bend that so you know, okay? And then just hold that down and take this wire and wrap it all the way around to the front, right about there. And then you're going to take your wire cutters and we're gonna cut it right there. And at the very end, I want you to take your needle nose and you're gonna turn that over, but leave it open. Do not close that and make it hard yet, or tamp it down. We're gonna leave it open so we can put some wool in there. Okay. So all in all, this is, that first piece was about 2 inches. Well, now that I bent it, it's about 1 3/4. And this piece is about 6. So you want about 8 inches. It's gonna be about 8 inches. But measure it to your cat so you know exactly how many inches you need. It's always better to go a little bit longer and cut it off at the end than to go too short. So what we're gonna do now is take the awl, turn him over, find where the tail should be. And it's kind of like, here's the hips. You want to go a little bit up from the hips and then to the center. And then you're going to stick this all in about 2 inches. Now what I like to do so that I don't have to keep making the hole over and over again, I like to go in, back and forth, and kind of wiggle it around as I'm doing that. And I do this until there's no more resistance of the wool. So a lot of times I'll hit little strands of wool and it stops me and I just push through. And I do that until there's no more. And then I'm gonna push it in an upwards angle. So I'm pushing up and I'm going in and out like that, and I'm felting as I'm pushing up. Then I'm gonna push over to the right, keep doing that, push down, push to the left. This is creating a really good hole that is not gonna close up on me, because what happened was the awl was actually felting into that hole. So now I can stick this in with no issues at all. Okay, what I want to do is get my Gorilla Glue or whatever glue you have on hand, and I am going to put a small stream of it, and it gets goppy and gloppy and goopy. Okay, some people like to even just do that. And then I'm gonna insert it right in. Now, if you didn't felt your hole very well, it's gonna close up on you and you're gonna have to go refelt it with wet glue. So trust me on that, get that felted really, really well. Okay, you wanna wait about 10 minutes and then, so just leave it sit for 10 minutes and then come back. This is gonna set for you, and then that way we can work with it a little bit easier. It's a good time to take a look and see if there's anything else that might need to be done. If you like the shape of the legs and the feet, if you like, you know, the hips and the shoulders, it's a good time to do that. If you're moving him around, just make sure you hold your finger there. If you want to just let him sit, you can definitely let him sit as well. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up through the 10 minutes. And I will be back. I'm just gonna tinker with him. Okay, mine is not completely set, and that's okay. Go ahead and let yours set completely. And then depending on how familiar you are with wrapping wire, I have a how to wrap wire masterclass. Basically, it's a practice drill set, and I take you through wrapping all kinds of things, like skewers and such. But we end up with wire. If you're not good at wrapping wire or you don't feel confident with that, go ahead and watch that video, practice, and come back. But if you feel like, you know, you want to take a stab at it, that is fine too. Let's go ahead and wrap this wire. If you have not wrapped a lot of wire, one thing that you can do is take some Elmer's glue and just make a run up the tail. I'm not going to do that today, you know, just because I don't feel I need it. But if you do feel you need it, that will help grip the wire a little bit. So let me show you how we're going to do this. You're going to go ahead and just start pulling maybe about 2-inch strands, and we are gonna loosen that up a little bit. I'm not pulling hard. I'm just very barely like loosening it, and then I'm gonna draft it out a little bit longer. Right now I want 2-inch strands, 2 inches wide, because I do need to do the base around the tail. And you'll see also while I was fiddling, I added a couple, like another couple of inches between the shoulder and the hip, just to make him a little fatter. I'm not sure if you saw that or not, but I did, because I just sometimes can't settle. I need to keep doing things, but you don't have to, completely not necessary. So I'm gonna take my 36 first of all, just to start off, and I'm gonna put this on the left side of this tail. And I'm just gonna use this to continue building up his little hiney area. This is all gonna be used for both the tail and, you know, completing the cat. So I have a little bunch. I'm just gonna hold this wire still, and I'm gonna pull that little bunch pretty tightly around. So you can see right here, this is not felted, and I've got a tight pull. So I'm gonna come back over, and I wanna go over here about 3 or 4 times right now. Right now I'm trying to build a fat base at the bottom of the tail. Just make sure while you're doing this, you're not pulling your wire out of his little tushy. Okay, and now I've got a pretty good fat base right there, and I'm gonna come up on his body and just hold it and tack that down right there, just right above it. Okay, then I'm gonna come back and do the same thing again. And as I'm coming around, the wool is gonna kind of do what it wants to do. So I'm gonna let it kind of fall in place where it wants to fall, and then spread it out. Since I'm at the end of my piece, I'm gonna spread that out. And now I'm gonna take my 242s, and where it's spread out, I'm gonna just fan that out and blend it into the back of the cat. We're gonna do this a few times so you can see it. So this is helping create a base for the tail, and it's also helping give him a little bit of girth on his backside, because he is supposed to be a fat kitty. Makes him cuter and cuter. Okay, so that's giving me a good start here. I want to show you, this is kind of what we're going for. If you can see the base of this tail, how this wool, he got fat from that wool. And so we're going to keep doing that. We're going to keep layering it and making it go up on his back like that. I'm going to do that again. This one is about 2 inches again. The length of your pull doesn't really matter right now. You can try 5 to 8 inches or so. You're just going to keep pulling it. So it's not really, you know, it's not going to matter too much. My first pull was probably around 8 inches. This one is definitely no more than 5. So on the first one, I started here. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and start on this side. I'm going to take my 36 and I'm going to tack that down. Just so it's not going to come up, and I'm going to just spin it around. I want you to see how, because it's wide, as I'm turning it, see how it's coming down onto his butt? Okay, so it's doing that because it's wide. When we wrap the wire, we won't be pulling such a wide piece, but right now I'm just working on the base of the tail. So I want it a little bit wide. I'm going to go ahead and tack that part down just with my 242s really quick. Okay, and then come back and then come around. This is where you kind of have to have a little bit of like an artistic impression and figure out like where that wool is gonna lie down and make it look like a good base to a tail and give him a little bit of girth on his butt, his backside. Okay, so you can see from the side now, I've got a good base here. I've got a little bit of fatness here. That's what I'm looking for. We'll come back and fine tune when we're done. Okay, now if you want a tip, like on this one I have white, this one I have white and a little bit of brownish color. Let's go ahead and do that. If you want a tip, I want to show you how to do it. So you'll go ahead and take your white and pull. We only need about 2 inches to 3 inches long. And this is no more than 1 inch wide. Okay, and then I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna put him off the mat so that you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I have this little open end here that we left open. I'm actually gonna put this right inside that little open end, and then I'm gonna take my needle nose pliers and I'm gonna clamp it down. And I wanna clamp it pretty hard. I don't want that going anywhere. This is the tip of my tail, okay? And I'm just gonna wrap several times, just right here. You can see as I'm doing that, it's creating like a little bit of a tip. Okay, it broke on me, and that's okay. If that happens, do not panic. I'm just gonna pop it down twice there. Get another little piece. This is not the best pull of white. Let me try this one. That other one was kind of breaking apart pretty easy. Okay, so just gonna come right back where I was, and I'm gonna just go over, pull tight, go over, pull tight, and then I'm gonna work my way down the tail like that.
Cat.
Uh-huh.
Guy needs to be walked.
Okay.
Walker.
I'm almost done with this. Put it down and tack it. Right now, being very gentle, not going anywhere near the wire, but when we start actually felting the tail, I'm going to use this armature needle that I told you guys about. Okay, so this is good. This is good enough right now for me as the tip of my tail, okay? So now I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of my orange. This is actually all I have left, and that's fine, it's enough. If you do end up running out of a color, you can always blend if you wanted to. I am going to tear this down the center. I want it lengthwise. I'm just gonna roll it a little bit because it's gonna come apart. Okay, so now lay it here on your tail, hold it down, pull and go over. And you don't pull from, watch that video if you haven't wrapped before, because don't pull from down here or it's gonna break. You just wanna pull it tight right here. Get your fingers in this close proximity and pull right there. And then let's go ahead and wrap all the way up. Go at a 45-degree angle towards the white. My goal is to hit that white and be able to start coming back a little bit. So I hit the white, I'm gonna turn it and start coming back. I just wanna double back over some of this wool and go as far as you can. I'm gonna pull that part off. Okay, So now I am really close to the wire. This is the time where I'm going to get my armature needle. And if you remember, this is not an armature needle, is not something you can purchase. It's just what I call an old throwaway needle that I don't care about. And I don't care if it breaks on my armature. So the beginning of this, where I started wrapping it, let's go ahead and tack that down. I'm gonna get my 242s to do that. Gonna go ahead and strengthen that up a little bit. All right, get another piece and do the same thing. We're just gonna basically draft it out a little bit. It's going against the grain, which is why it's giving me kind of a hard time. So it's okay, I can still work with it. I just wanna try to make it as thin as possible without breaking. Okay, so this is the thinner part. I'm gonna start with that part on the cat and then just start wrapping back up in my 45-degree angle. Not pulling from the bottom. I'm just literally flipping it over and then pulling when I'm close to the tail. You just want to come back just a little bit, at least go back at least ½ an inch or 1/4 of an inch, just so that wool is over the other piece of wool. Tack it down. And just continue shaping the base of the tail here. If you don't do this before you start your next piece, this is gonna go haywire over here and start unraveling. You can even tack it before you start wrapping. It doesn't matter, whatever you'd prefer to do. With carded, it's a little harder to wrap, so it's a good challenge. You just want to make it as thin as you can. Okay, so now I'm not going to start on the back of the tail there. I'm going to just start right here where it starts to get thin. Hold that tight, and I'm just going to keep going up. I want to make sure my wool is laying flat as I go up. And just keep going at that 45-degree angle. I hit the white. Now I'm going to come back at another 45-degree angle, coming back. Okay, tack that down. Find where it started. Tack that down. If you're worried about your needle hitting that wire, use your armature needle, just like that. Okay, gonna get a little more. This is the point where if you wanted to put a color in to the tail, you would do it. You could wrap it with a little bit of brown. You could put a little, wrap a little bit of that melon up. Whatever you want to do. I'll show you on the next wrap, but this is about where you're going to want to do that. So we don't have too many more wraps to do. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull that there. Just listen to the wool, what it wants to tell you. If it feels like it's breaking, let it break. It's frustrating to try to wrap with wool that is breaking in your hands. Almost there. So let me go ahead and get a strand of this melon because I do want to put some melon on him. I'm gonna make it kind of thin and go ahead and just wrap a little bit of this right up. You can really do this any way that you want. You could lay it on there if you didn't want it to go in a spiral. You could like literally lay it on there and just felt it in. You could do anything. Let me get a little bit of brown. And I'm gonna try to go in between where I just layered that melon. Now I'm showing you this because I want you to see how to add the color. You don't have to add the color. You don't have to. As a matter of fact, you know, you might just be completely happy with the way that it looks, and that's completely fine too. I always think a little bit of color is nice because each cat has its own individual markings. And then it helps you to separate, especially like if you're giving these as gifts or you're selling them at a market. This size cat and all of my dryer ball buddies that I make would sell here in Texas. It depends, but you could make anywhere depending on the detail on it. I can make 35 to 50 depending on the detail of the cat and if he's holding anything and that kind of thing. Okay, I'm gonna follow up just with some bits of orange. I feel like the tail is thick enough now, so I'm just gonna, you know, very thinly go ahead and put another layer of orange. Those colors that I just put on are gonna just sort of blend through. And that should be our last layer. So now what I'm gonna do is take my two 42s, and I really need to just fine tune this. You always want your needles to go at, you know, parallel with that wire. If you are gonna use your 42s and not just a throwaway needle, you want your needles to go parallel with the wire. If you feel the wire, stop. So I'm just gonna just felt it. I hope my head's not in the shot there. Just trying to make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. Every time that I add color, I'm always pleased with it. I think the colors are just so pretty. They look really good together. It's thick enough right now to where my needle can go in at a little bit of an angle, and I am not too worried. I just don't want to go down towards the wire because that will snap a needle so fast. Okay, right here, I don't like this blunt white, so I'm gonna take a little bit of this orange, cover some of this brown, and just go up around that white like that, very gently, just so it doesn't look so blunt. I don't like that. So basically now it's just a matter of felting this until you feel the tail is done. It's not going to unravel on you. It's blended. There's no lumps and bumps. It's a gradual transition. So those are kind of like all of the questions that you need to ask yourself. I'm going to put a little bit more of the orange right there just to help that, again, not look so blunt. I don't like those blunt color changes. I like them to, you know, be gradient. Okay, so since we have the the brown and the melon on his head. We have some brown and melon on his tail. If you wanted to, you could always add like stripes or something, you know, across his belly, anything that you want to do. This is the time to look at him and see if there's anything that needs some attention. Like right here, you can kind of see this big, like where I tacked that in. It would be, you could put anything you want there. I could put a little piece of brown. I could put a little piece of orange. I'm going to just sort of fill that in. And just spend a few minutes going over the cat with your 242s and your clover punch tool and just making everything smooth. If you feel like there's not enough wool somewhere, add it. Just like I did on the sides right here. The combination of the 242s and the clover punch tool again are going to give you a nice smooth surface, which is what we're looking for. You can use your fingers also to, you know, we've been doing a lot of work on them, flipping them upside down and stuff. So just use your fingers to sort of help him get back into that football shape. It's very important. Look, his tail's coming up over his head. That is so cute. Oh my goodness, you're a cutie. I'm just gonna work on his mouth a little bit. I feel like his little chin is just a little too big. So these are the things that you're gonna see. And like I said, each one is different. You may love it just the way it is and just leave it alone. He's so cute. Oh my goodness, little boy. Oh, okay. Okay, so let me get this guy and this guy covered in wool over here in this little wool factory. I love this cat. I really love this design, and I hope you have enjoyed it as well. Each one that you do is going to come out a little bit different, and that is okay. Just keep making them and practicing, and you can turn this into an ornament if you wanted to hang it on a tree. You could give these as gifts. You could sell them at your trade shows. The possibilities are endless. They're super cute. Let's look at their backs, their little back sides. There's 3 different varieties here, and every one is a little bit different depending on the choices that you make, you know, as you're creating your little cat. So the next thing that I do in my dryer ball series is going to be a fuzzy caterpillar. But I am going to be taking a break from that to do some other things that I have on my agenda. One of them is going to be some reviews for Heidi Feather's felting supplies, which I'm super excited. I hope you guys subscribe and like so you can see those reviews of her products. And you know, tune in for the next video, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch my channel. I truly appreciate you. Bye-bye.